Good morning, boys and girls. Today is Tuesday, the 23rd of February. First up, senior infants, we are going to correct yesterday's phonics in our Over the Moon, page 78. First, we had to ring all the pictures that had the sound. So circle has the Boat does not. Shirt does. Shoes does not. Third, as in third place, does. So give it a tick. And rainbow does not. So give it an X. Next, you had to trace all your special friends. That is I, R, I, R, I, R. And you had to match it with the picture. So first one was stir. The cook will stir the mixture. Dirt. I will sweep up the dirt. Sir. Hello, sir. Sir is another way of saying a man. Skirt. Twirl. The girl will twirl around. Here we had a picture of a girl. Girl. Next, a picture of a bird. 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 B-I-R-D. Bird. Here we have a medal showing first place. First. First. F-I-R-S-T. Here I've underlined my special friends, and let's read it together. 1, 2, 3. The girl put on her skirt. She did a twirl. It was her birthday. Next, you're going to continue with your bossy R sound, but your new special friend today is you are making the sound. So if you open up your Over the Moon to page 82, I want you to click this link and watch the video that has the sound, as in you are. When you've finished, I want you to write today's date, 23.2, on top of the page. Just as you did yesterday, in activity A, you're going to ring the pictures that have the sound. So nurse, nurse has the sound, so you circle it. If it does not have the sound, you cross it out. Activity B, you trace your special friend, read the word out loud and match it to the picture. Fur. The bear has fur. In activity C, you look at the picture and say the word and spell it. It is the boy can surf. Surf. And then finally, in activity D, you underline your special friends and read your paragraph out loud. Best of luck, boys and girls. Today, boys and girls in first class, you are going to start writing your very own story. So you've already done the first stage of the writing process, which is planning. You've planned your main character and you've planned your story mountain plan. Now it's time to get down to writing your draft. Draft means your first round of writing. So your first paragraph is going to be your setting. Your setting includes who is in the story, where is it happening, when is it happening, and what is happening. When you're writing your setting, I want you to remember to include these following things. I want you to include a super sentence starter for your paragraph. I want you to include the power of 3 amazing adjectives to describe the weather. And I'll be talking about more on that in the next slide. Remember to include who, so introduce your main character and include at least 2 adjectives to describe their personality and 2 adjectives to describe their physical appearance. These would have been in your plan that you made yesterday. Remember to include where the story is beginning and what is happening and when is the story happening. This could be another nice way to set the scene really nicely by setting the time of year. It could be an autumn day or a spring day or a winter's day or a summer's day. That could really help your reader get an idea of the story and picture it nice and clear in their mind. When you have your first paragraph done, remember to skip a line. Then you're going to write your second paragraph. Your second paragraph is the build-up or the beginning of your story. Here you're starting events off. Your character might move to a new place in the story. So for example, at the beginning of Becoming a Hurler, Tom at the setting was in his bedroom writing a list, but in the build-up he had travelled to the sports shop. Okay, so once again in your second paragraph you have to include a super sentence starter, and I'll have lots of examples of these on the next slide, and then explain what starts to happen. Remember, everything in a story is written in the past tense. It's already happened. Here I want you to include how your character is feeling. Do they meet any different characters in the story? And where are they now? The build-up is a nice part of your story to try and include one incredible idiom. These can be any of the idioms that you've heard in your stories so far, or it can be one of the ones you did for Valentine's Day. Just try and make sure that it's appropriate to your character. So here, leave this slide up to help you when you're writing your 2 paragraphs. Here I've got lots of super sentence starters for your setting and your build-up, because this is at the beginning of your story. So these are the type of super sentence starters you'll be using today, the ones in green. So for example, first, once, one time, initially, in the beginning, it started when, once upon a time, one morning, one day, one night. And remember here, you could even improve these sentence starters by writing in your 3 weather adjectives. And over here, I've included lots of weather adjectives. So for example, you're saying one day to start off your story. Well, you could say one bright, hot, blazing day. And there you've included a sentence starter and you've used a power of 3 to describe your weather. Here are lots of weather adjectives. So if there was sun on the day, you could say it was sunny. If there was rain on the day, you could say it was rainy or drizzling or pouring or lashing if it was really heavy. Oh, sorry, I've misspelled my word there. Raining. If there was clouds on the day, you could say it was cloudy or gloomy or foggy or overcast. If there was snow on the day, you could say it was snowy. Again, as we've already mentioned, if there was fog on the day, you could say it was foggy. If there was wind on the day, you could say it was windy or breezy or blustery. Remember, boys and girls, a lot of these adjectives have the long E sound at the end. Sunny, foggy, snowy, windy, breezy. This long E sound at the end of a word is made with our Y. It's the Y that's making the long E sound. Here you have lots of temperature adjectives: hot, warm, cool, cold, and freezing. So there are lots of adjectives to help you in your writing today, boys and girls. I can't wait to see what you write. First up, boys and girls, we are going to correct yesterday's activity. So our first word was drop. D-R-O-P, D-R-O-P, drop. Next word was ring. R-I-N-G, ring. R-I-N-G. Next one was crab. K-R-A-B, crab. C-R-A-B, crab. Now we'll do our first spelling of the day. Our initial blend today is D and R blending together to make dr. Dr, dr, dr. Say it with me. Dr, 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 dr. So first spelling, D-R-A-G, drag, drag. Drag means to pull something that's quite heavy. So pretend you're pulling Santa's big sack of toys along the floor. Drag. What type of word is that? It's a doing word, so colour it red, please. It's a verb. The word rag, which is an old piece of cloth or clothes, is hidden in drag. Next spelling, D-R-O-P, dr-o-p, drop. Pretend that you're holding a toy in your hand and drop it. Pretend that you've picked up a pencil and drop it. What type of word is drop? It's a doing word, so colour it red, please. It's a verb. And final spelling today, D-R-O-M, dr-o-m, drum. Drum the table, boys and girls. Pretend that you're pointing to a drum. Drum can be two types of words. It can be a doing word and it can be a noun because it's a thing. So colour it half red and half yellow, please. Then when you've practiced tracing your spellings, and remember, tall letters tall, small letters small, and long letters long, move to activity C. Here you have got your slug and you have to find your words that are hidden in it and write them. So the first one was drop. D-R-O-P. Drop. Remember to send a photo when you're done, boys and girls. Okay, so boys and girls, first up we are going to correct our Spell Well activity from yesterday, page 65, and number 2, going across, horizontally across. This girl is so angry, she is in a rage. R-A-J. The G-E is making the J sound and the magic E is turning the A into the A. Here, going horizontally across at number 3 is a race. Look at their faces, boys and girls. They look wrecked. R-A-S, and the C-E is making the S. Number 1 going down yesterday we said was ace, ace, A-C-E. And number 2 going vertically down was rice, R-I-C-E. R-I-C-E. So moving on to our phonics today, we have our magic E that's turning our I into the long I sound, and our C-E together makes S. Ice. Ice is a state of matter when water is frozen, it becomes solid ice. So it's a thing, it's a noun. Colour it yellow, please. Now this small word ice will help us to spell all of our spellings today. So if we know how to spell ice, you'll know how to spell everything else. Next one, again, the magic E is turning the I into the I sound, and the C and E is making S. N, I, S. Nice. I already see I, so I could just have said ice. Nice. Nice, boys and girls, is an adjective. It describes somebody's personality. So you could use it for your character, boys and girls. Colour it blue. It's an adjective. Next one, I've got ice again, and I just have the in front of it. So ice, rice. Rice is a type of food, so it's a thing. A noun. Colour it yellow, please. Once again, I have ice in my word, and I have my initial blend S and P blending together to make ice. Spice. Spice is another type of food, boys and girls. It's like a powder that you put into stir fries or curries to add flavour. It's a noun, so colour it yellow, please. Then for activity C, you have to match the word to its jumbled form and then write it correctly. So here, nice. Remember to send a photo when you're done. Thank you. Next, boys and girls, we're going to be learning line 3 and 4. So I'll show you our actions and you can repeat after me. And when I'm tired, I float, pretending that I'm a boat. Again. And when I'm tired, I float, pretending that I'm a boat. Now let's put that together with our first two lines, boys and girls. Swimming in the water, cool and bright, I kick my feet with all my might. And when I'm tired, I float, pretending that I'm a boat. Practice that now in your own time, boys and girls. Inis bucali agus Colini, tá sé an am don Gaelga. Dús, I want you to listen to our video from yesterday. You'll be listening to this every day this week and be remembering the sounds and how to say the different sentences. Remember the first one was Bhí na páistí sa seomra sí. Then I want you to go and listen to our Irish poem of the month, Cúla Misha Éinín. In Irish this week, you have an activity to complete. You have until Friday to do it. I want you to create your own mini story, your scale as Gaeilge. I want you to take a photo of you and your family sa seomra sí. Use yesterday's story and the phrases you've learned during home learning to help you create your story. Record your story and send a video on your Class Dojo portfolio. Senior infants, I want you to be able to say at least 4 sentences to describe your photo. And first class, I'd like you to write and read at least 6 sentences. 6 Oberty. On the next slide, I'll show you more how to do that. So here I've taken another photo of a family on Clon sa seomra sí. Here I've kept my first sentence the same. Bhí na páistí sa seomra sí. Bhí mommy ina sí an tullag. Bhí leabhar ag mommy. Bhí si ag léamh. Bhí lampa an mór. Bhí cat an mór. Bhí níomh ina si an talamh. Bhí crián ag níomh. Bhí níomh ag scríobh. Bhí osín ag rith. Bhí daddy ag caint. See, boys and girls, I've made up a brand new story all about an clán sa seomra sí. It's so easy to do because you've learned so many phrases throughout the last 2 months and so much vocabulary. So I can't wait to see your photos and hear your descriptions. Buin tanna vás bucali agus Colini. Boys and girls, we are going to correct yesterday's maths, your story of 5 and your story of 6. So, our first story is the story of 5. Usually, whatever number our story is, you just add one more number to that to tell you how many ways to make it. So, 1 more than 5 is 6, so I'm going to write number 1 all the way to 6 in a vertical row going down, a vertical column going down. Then I skip a box across. My first way to make 5 is 0 plus 5 equals 5. Give that a tick if you had that number sentence anywhere in your story of 5. Next, I'm just going to swap those two numbers around. 5 plus 0 equals 5. So give that number sentence a tick if you had it. Next, 1 plus 4 equals 5. Swap those numbers around, gives me 4 plus 1 equals 5. Next, 2 plus 3 equals 5. And swap those numbers around, gives me 3 plus 2 equals 5. And those are the 6 ways to make 5 by adding 2 numbers. Next, our story of 6. 1 more than 6 is 7. So I'm going to write the number 1 all the way to 7 in my column going down. I like to put a little dot, as you know, after each number. So, first one, again, I'll start with 0. What do I add to 0 to make 6? 0 plus 6 equals 6. And you see how I'm giving each digit and each sign its own box. I swap those two numbers around and it gives me 6 plus 0 equals 6. Give those two a tick if you had them anywhere in your number story. Next, 1 plus 5 equals 6. I swap that around and it gives me 5 plus 1 equals 6. Next, 2 plus 4 equals 6. I swap those two numbers around and it gives me 4 plus 2 equals 6. And finally, 3 plus 3 equals 6. And that is how I make my story of 6. Hope you all enjoyed it, boys and girls. Next up, boys and girls, you are revising your story of 7 and story of 8 by watching these videos. Again, I want you to write your stories of 7 and 8 just like we do in class and just like you did yesterday. Remember, for every number, there is that number and one more ways to make it. So for 7, 1 more than 7 is 8. So you should have about 8 different ways to make the number 7. The number 8, 1 more than 8 is 9. So you should have 9 different ways to make the number 8. Best of luck, boys and girls. Okay, so boys and girls, we are going to correct yesterday's maths work. Remember, the first thing you had to write on each column addition was your T and U. Remember, T stands for tens and U stands for units. When you're adding and taking away, you always start with your units place, your units side. So here, 1 plus 1 equals 2. 2 tens plus 1 10 equals 3 tens. 3 tens and 2 units makes 32. Next, 4 plus 2 equals 6. 3 tens plus 1 tens equals 4 tens. 4 tens and 6 units equals 46. Next, 6 units plus 1 unit equals 7. 1 10 plus 2 tens equals 3 tens. 3 tens and 7 units equals 37. Next, 3 units plus 2 units equals 5, and 2 tens plus 1 10 equals 3 tens. 3 tens and 5 units equals 35. Next, 4 plus 0 equals 4, and 3 tens plus 2 tens equals 5 tens. 5 tens and 4 units equals 54. Hope you did well, boys and girls. First class, today we are learning a new skill when adding two-digit numbers. This skill is called regrouping. Can we say it together? Regrouping. Regrouping means when you group your units together and use them to make tens and units. So I'm going to show you how to do it here. Here on our two-digit numbers we see tens and ones. We say units instead of ones. So I'm going to write on top of my tens T and on top of my units U. When you're writing down these addition sums, I want you to make sure you're writing T on top of your tens and U on top of your units. It will really help you keep understanding your place value and make sure that you do your adding correctly. So, as usual, we start off with adding our unit side. Here we have 4 units plus 8 units equals, what does it equals? It equals 12, boys and girls. I'm going to write that number down here. Let's have a look at the number 12. There's 1, 2. There's 2 digits in the number 12. But I know the rule in school is that each digit gets its own box. So what do I do? Well, I'm just going to jot my little T and U here to help me. And here I see my 2 is underneath my U. It's the unit. So I'll write my 2 here underneath my units box. But that just shows 4 plus 8 equals 2, but it actually equals 12. So what do I do with this 110? Remember, I can't write it here because each digit gets its own box. Well, what I do is I regroup. I carry over my 110 here. Now, some people like to write it up here, but I like to write it on the line on the T side because I can see nice and clear that this is my number 12 that I got when I added 4 and 8 together. So this is regrouping. 4 plus 8 equals 12. So now I see my 2 underneath my U. I've finished adding my units, so I move on to my tens. Let's do the next one together. 3 tens plus 5 tens makes 8 tens. And what's this 1 here? Well, that's another 10, so I must add it too. 8 plus 1 more 10 is 9 tens. So I write that down underneath my T. 9 tens and 2 units makes 92. Let's do the next one together as well. T and U. 6 units plus 7 units is 13 units, but there's 2 digits in 13. So I write my 3 underneath my unit side and my 110 from 13 on the line on my 10 side. 13. Now I've finished adding my units, I move on to my tens. 2 tens plus 4 tens is 6 tens, but I can't forget to add my 1 10 that I regrouped, so 6 plus 1 more 10 is 7 tens. 7 tens and 3 units is 73. I want you to practice doing these two now on your own and do the third one completely on your own. Remember, clearly label your T and U, please. Best of luck, boys and girls. Next up, boys and girls, it's our Tables Tuesday on page 42 of your Work It Out. Today, you're adding 10. Straight into it. Number 1, 10 plus what equals 12? Number 2, 10 plus what equals 11? Number 3, 10 plus what equals 18? Number 4, 10 plus what equals 10? Number 5, 10 plus what equals 17? Number 6, 10 plus what equals 14? Number 7, 10 plus what equals 16? Number 8, 10 plus what equals 19? Number 9, 10 plus what equals 15? Number 10, 10 plus what equals 13? Number 11, what plus 10 equals 12? Number 12, what plus 10 equals 10? Number 13, what plus 10 equals 19? Number 14, what plus 10 equals 11? Number 15, what plus 10 equals 14? Number 16, what plus 10 equals 17? Number 17, what plus 10 equals 16? 18, what plus 10 equals 13? 19, what plus 10 equals 15? And finally, 20, what plus 10 equals 20? If you need to pause to go back over, do, but we're going to go straight into correcting. So a nice trick when adding tens, boys and girls, or if you see a number sentence that has a missing number, is looking at your T and U in your mind. Whatever is underneath my U is what I've added to 10 to get my answer. So 2 is underneath my U, so 10 plus 2 equals 12. We're going to correct a little differently here today, and we're going to see if we can find number pairs. That's when we swap the two numbers around, we get the same answer. So 10 plus 2 should be the same as 2 plus 10. Both equals 12. Number 10, here on my unit side I see 1, so 10 plus 1 equals 11. Can I find a number pair for 11? Yes, I can. So 10 plus 1 equals 11. So 1 plus 10 equals 11. Next, what's on my unit side here? 8. So 10 plus 8 equals 18. Can I find a matching number pair that equals 18? No, I can't. Okay, number 4. What's on my unit side? 0. So the answer is 10 plus 0 equals 10. Can I find a number pair? Yes, I can. 10 plus 0 equals 10, so 0 plus 10 equals 10. You're just swapping your numbers around. Number 5, what's on my unit side? 7, so 10 plus 7 equals 17. Do I have a number pair? Yes, I do. 10 plus 7 equals 17, so 7 plus 10 equals 17. Here, 4 is on my unit side, so 10 plus 4 equals 14. And my number pair is 4 plus 10 equals 14. Just swapping your numbers around. On my unit side, I see 6, so 10 plus 6 equals 16. That means 6 plus 10 equals 16. Just swapping my numbers around. Here, 9 is on my unit side, so 10 plus 9 equals 19, which is the same as 9 plus 10 equals 19. 5 is on my unit side, so 10 plus 5 equals 15, which is the same as 5 plus 10 equals 15. And here, number 10, 3 is on my unit side, so 10 plus 3 is 13, so 3 plus 10 is 13. And finally here, I've a 2 on my digits, on my tens digit side, so I can't use the same trick that I'd been doing, so I have to figure it out. The answer would have been 10 plus 10 equals 20. Remember to give yourself a sad face, fine face, or happy face, and a score out of 20, boys and girls. Well done. Okay, so boys and girls and senior infants, you're going to be reading the rest of your book today. But before we do so, I want us to catch up on our questions from yesterday. Question 1 was, who was in the setting of the story? Well, in the setting, there was Mr. Lillis, the classmates, and Tom and Peter. Question 2, where were they? Well, boys and girls, they were in the school yard. Number 3, what were they doing? They were playing outside. They were playing all kinds of sports. Number 4, what phrase means the same as being nervous? Well, it was on page 4. Having the jitters means to be nervous. And question 5, what was the problem in the story? Well, the problem in the story was that Tom couldn't play hurling. Why? Because he didn't have the right boots. So let's find out today how this problem will be resolved. Happy reading, boys and girls. Remember to read out loud to somebody in your family. Now, boys and girls, that you've finished reading your story, I want you to go back and do some after reading activities. Look at the illustration of Mr. Lillis on page 8. Describe the kit he's wearing. Then, Meg and Mel want a new pair of runners each. What solution did Mom suggest? Question 3. How did Tom and Peter celebrate Tom's point? Finally, I want you to make a connection with the story. How would you celebrate a victory with your friends? I hope you enjoyed the book, boys and girls. Well done. Finally today, boys and girls in first class, I want you to read Fina's first book of facts on page 38. Remember to read it out loud to somebody in your family.